Welcome back to some Manor Lords. We're back in North Hamburg in September of year 3. Last video we spent a bit of time talking about backyard extensions and how artisans affect the whirlpool. The whirlpool? Oh my god. Good morning. How the artisans affect the work pool. Thank you very much. We see now we're in September. The farm is harvesting. So good going there. I do believe that we have two ox and two oxen assigned to the farm. And sorry about, sometimes as I'm playing here and still, getting used to recording myself doing this, it's difficult to, get everything done in a way that makes sense and that's, might be fun for people to actually watch and still not, be just, have an organic village growing here. But at the same time, you only have 100% brain capacity. So if you're talking and playing at the same time, it takes a bit of time for the brain to actually practice doing that. So as I stutter my way through the video, please, be patient. It's not as easy as it might sound. And I'm, I'm 54 years old, so I'm trying to figure it all out, and I think I'm doing okay. If not, leave a comment if you hate it, or if there's something about the presentation that's really bad or whatever. If I don't know, if you don't tell me that, something isn't good or whatever, I won't be changing it because I might not be aware of it. So, for the sake of engagement, please feel free to leave a comment. And I never thought I'd ever say that myself, but, it's fun. I see the numbers on views growing very slowly in my overview of videos. And that is fun. I mean, it feels very rewarding. And in the end, this doesn't really change much for me. I mean, I'd be playing anyway, but this way I get to share it. And it's fun to see that, there's some videos in the medium double digits now, and that's awesome. I'll never get a million views or whatever, and I don't care about that, but it's still rewarding to see that people watch it, even just for a little while. Excuse me. Um, and, that makes it all worth it. And even if nobody watched, I would probably still continue doing it because it's, especially for people of my age, excuse me if I keep mentioning that, it's important to keep your brain active and, find things that you like to do and learn new stuff. And especially with the recording tech here, that's a lot of new stuff to learn. I tried to figure out DaVinci Studio, failed miserably because I had 2 short videos that I just wanted to basically, make into one. I tried to use DaVinci Studios for that. And one of the videos was 10 gig, the other was, I think, 15. And I would have expected for DaVinci to make like a 25 gig video out of that. Well, yeah, that didn't happen. I started rendering. Um, it was at like, I think 30% or something after an hour. And then I stopped the rendering. It just didn't make any sense. And just that partial file that it had rendered was already 120 gig or something. I'm like, okay, so I know I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what. I just left the videos as they were and just uploaded the raw stuff, which from OBS Studio, actually, that's a great software. It's free. and it works. You know, you plug that microphone in and change some settings. There's some really, really helpful tutorials on YouTube as to how to do that, and it works. And then even if you run into issues like I did with the microphone yesterday, it's fixable. And then you're back, you know, recording stuff um, and watching your village grow. And we need fuel. So let's add someone to the woodcutter's lodge. And this also reminds me for the beginners out there. If you trade your stuff and you see that you don't have enough of the item anymore, like I do with fuel, remember to adapt the numbers at the trader. This is going to fix it very, very quickly, especially with that added person at the firewood cutter. Remember that you have a trader, and if you don't see your food or whatever growing with the stuff that you're producing, remember that you started with low numbers in the trader or at the trader, and yet those numbers will have to be adapted. So we will be adding a lime kiln in a little while for mortar, not necessarily to sell, because with Off the Vogtland, you know, we might just as well just export the rubble stone for the same price. However, if we add mortar, it'll give us a bit more variety in the stuff that we're selling, and we're not going to ruin the price for this. And we're going to need mortar anyway. We're also going to need roof tiles. That was one of the things that I was preparing here. Here. I was preparing but didn't build yet. All right, see? Never be afraid to make mistakes or to forget something. We'll just add it now. And we will also be adding a clay furnace here. I'll only be using one person here, so they'll be doing some mining, then they'll be in the clay furnace. I'll just switch them back and forth because this is going to be empty very quickly. And so just, you know, put them there, and that's it. And I will probably delete both well, I'll definitely delete the mine as the clay depletes. But the furnace will also destroy, which means that the supplies, the tiles as such, would stay there. But our storehouse is large enough, and usually I set it to not accept goods. In this case, because it won't be all that many, they'll also accept roof tiles just to make sure that they, you know, don't get destroyed by nature or whatever. The iron, I think we will probably mine and just make tools from it. Or maybe we'll just sell it. And I think it's going to make us 2 per iron ore. I think it's 2. Yeah. I think we'll just sell the iron ore, and then we'll have to keep importing tools anyway, because we don't have a rich mine. So I think we'll be doing that. And again, whatever strategy you have, go for it. You know, if it works for you, go for it. Of course, I have my favorites, and as you play more, you'll have your own favorites as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Just play like you like to play. It's a single-player game. Don't tell anyone, or don't let anyone tell you that you're doing it wrong. You're not. You're playing the way that you want to play, and that's fine. And nobody gets to tell you that that's not the right way to play, or that you have to do it differently, or, you know, that you're doing it wrong. You're not. You're, you know, if there are actually things that aren't working in your village, then yeah, maybe you made a mistake with the setup, but that's all part of the learning curve. Just, you know, have fun with it. And if it doesn't work, just start over. That's, to me, that's half of the fun. I've started so many villages trying to, you know, get them to look nice and You know, this hill is going to be so beautiful with some fields on there. We'll probably build a church up there as well, which means that I'll try to increase forests here, so you know, that will have that nice look. But we'll definitely keep um, the forest partially standing, because it's just, my God, it's just so pretty. Just make a screenshot just because, you know, look at this. Look at this game. It's just pretty. And just imagine you're, you know, in medieval times and then arriving through the forest here, and then you enter this like, oh, this looks cozy. All right, I think I want to settle here. So let's, you know, make it nice for them. Okay, so, ooh, I forgot. Ooh, I accidentally just wrecked the sheep herd that we had. Oh my God. Oh no. Okay, this is one of the errors or mistakes that you're just gonna have to accept. I forgot while while I was switching from one video to the other, I forgot to set a sheep reserve. So all of the sheep that we had have been dealt with by the butcher. So make sure. No, that was a really stupid mistake. But, you know, learn from it and move on. We'll just buy more. We have enough money. And then that's that. So usually what I do is when I build the butcher, for this exact reason, so that doesn't happen, when I build the butcher, I keep that window pinned here. So as it gets done, I'm reminded to set the reserve, which in this case I didn't do because I was switching to the next recording. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to pay for that mistake, literally, because we're gonna have to rebuy those sheep. But usually, what works pretty well is to set, you know, 40 and 40. I do believe that there is a hard limit to the amount of lambs. That's 33. I haven't been able to confirm it. I've seen it on the boards, but you know, if it's on the boards, it's not necessarily correct. Although it was posted by someone who I put a lot of trust in, so I'm not 100% certain. But in any case, um, setting it to 40 can't be wrong. You shouldn't set it much lower because you want your sheep herd to grow, right? And later, as your village grows and you need more wool and you might want more sheep in order to, you know, accelerate the wool production, just, you know, keep adding to this number. I know there are some people who put this to 100. We could, you know, do that as well, but I do want the mutton because food variety is something that I pay a lot of attention to in this game. Because it does make up for other stuff that you might not be able to fulfill fully, and people will still be happy. So in the beginning, I usually set this to 40 and 40, and then I add to the numbers as I grow. And we're down to just 4 sheep. Let's see there. I think there was 1 sheep just on the way to the butcher. Which is too bad. You know, I'm sorry. Oh, well. Yeah. A good mistake to make, really, because let's just make a teaching moment out of it. Yeah, they're gonna have to buy some more, and maybe I think we'll just add a second one just to make that a bit faster, because I want those sheep coming in, because I want close. So the good thing is we have ale going, so we can finish building the tavern, and make our people even happier. Let's check the market area. So we're Food variety. Yeah, that will be better once the bread comes in. Um, and we do have wheat bread, so that's good. It doesn't always show. Sometimes it takes a long while for some food to show up in the food variety here. I don't know why. Maybe it's a bug. Um, Still a bit low on fuel, so we're not, this is not perfect. But let's just overstock to 20 for now. That should fix most of it. Not all of it, but most of it. And see what happens. Let's keep an eye on that. Overall, though, I think we're doing okay, especially considering that we have to still correct that mistake about the sheep and the butcher. But we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. And nothing is lost. So let's add someone to the granary and then watch how that... And see, there's the wheat bread right here, yet it's not listed in the food variety. And I'm not sure why that's the case, because as we can see, other stuff gets added. But the bread doesn't show here. But, not that bad. In any case, we're good here. And now the wheat bread is there. Okay, good stuff. So see how you can just check for whether or not things are going well. Just click on the marketplace. That'll open this window. And then, hover over food variety or general goods. And it'll show you what all of our houses are consuming. Unfortunately, the bubbles don't really, get bigger as you zoom in. But you can see that, this butcher's shop has pretty much all of the food that they want. So right now, what they still want is garments. We're working on that with the clothes. We have the tailor set up for woolen clothes. We just, killed the sheep that we would have needed in order to in order to create the yarn that we need for the clothes. Church access, the second bubble is for the upgraded church. So we will have to upgrade that, and then the beverage will be from the tavern. Right now, I would prefer to not put that into the tavern yet. I want another worker here for the general goods. Probably need to further upgrade the trade number for fuel at the trader. 200 might be too low, or we're still trying to catch up. Yeah, we're still trying to catch up. Let's have a look at the woodcutter and see what the people are doing. Okay, so they are working. That's pretty cool. Let's have a look where they live. Okay, so if you again, for the beginners out there, if you have your production building here and the people tab, all of these, if you click on this, it'll show you the home. We will be checking the farmhouse in just a bit, just to make sure that none of the people that are in those big burgage plots with the gardens are working at the farm, because the farm harvests at the same time that the orchards and the veggie gardens do. So you don't want any of those burgages here, the big ones, working in the farm. So we'll be switching around a bit there. Quarry workers is good for the farmhouse because there's no seasonal activity here. You can just, if they don't, get any stones out in September, that's not going to make much of a difference. What was I saying? I can't put a quarry worker into the farm. It's either quarry worker or farm. So again, never be afraid to embarrass yourself on the internet. Any of these burgages should serve the farm, and then The vegetable people here, or orchard people, can then work at the quarry. That's what I actually meant. Because there's no seasonal work at the quarry, so when they do their veggie farming, nothing, no harm done at the quarry. All right, so back to business. The treasury is fine, and we have a good amount of influence, which means with these 1.1k, we could now look at adding another region, or claiming a region which will not be contested because there's no AI on this. And I usually, for the first additional region, I usually look for resources that obviously I don't have in my region, and that complements what I have in my region. So here's another rich stone, and there's rich salt. Rich salt is pretty good, and I believe, wasn't there another? Yeah, rich salt, but I think we may have rich salt somewhere else. That, yeah. So rich mushrooms. So we have rich salt here as well. I'm just, considering what other region to claim that, would work well with others, or with ours. And I do want salt, but we don't really need it just yet. Now this region would be interesting if we didn't have rich stone ourselves, so just having too rich stone is just gonna ruin prices. So we'll probably go for this region later. It's nice and big, which is pretty cool. It has wild animals, so our favorite of the Vogtland would work well with that. And I think there's also farmland here. Let's see. No farmland. What's the second rich? Oh, there. Mushrooms and salt. It's actually a good combination if you don't want to go for iron or stone. Salt is a pretty good rich resource to have. However, salt is a major trade route, so you'll have to pay for that in order to trade it. Okay, so that's it for today, I think. Let's have a look at our stats here. Last 365 days, we made 2,000 net in exports without even trying much. See, stone is netting us 1,800 or so in sales, and we spent a lot on sheep. And we made a lot with planks. So again, planks are a great early trade. So do consider that in your own playthrough. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.